15 years ago, we started Transition Garden. It's a way to use a garden to build community, to build additional strength of local control over what's going on in the outside world. Communities working more closely together, working on food production, which is important, of course, to everyone, and a way to really build that community empowerment.
Garden grows through the seasons that flow. Our garden grows, our garden grows.
We're now into the early summer greenhouse. We've converted it over to summer crops. So let me show you what happened. These beds were full of spinach, arugula, spring rab, other types of spring-loving crops. We pulled everything out. We've refreshed the beds now with fresh compost. Now we've got tomatoes. There's probably altogether in this greenhouse, we're going to be growing about 15, 20 different varieties of tomatoes. We've got them trained to go up strings here. They're going to be up over my head by the end of the summer. Tons of fruit, lots of just fully loaded with tomatoes all the way up. We've got peppers, both the big sweet bell peppers. We've got all the way to the really hot Mexican chilies and everything else in between. So there's a lot of good variety in here. We're going to have basil, onions, we've got radicchio. So we're going to be following the growth of these plants over the summer. Next couple of months, they're going to get huge. Tons of vegetables going to be hanging off of these. Now, one of my favorites, here's a good example of different crops coming on at different times. So we've just started the summer crops, but what we've got here is our carrots. These carrots were planted back in late March, and they're just starting to produce good baby carrots. Now, if you take a look, everybody loves early young carrots. Take a look. Now, there's a little shorty one there. We've got some other ones here. Look at that. Beautiful carrots. Now, this is snack food. Kids love it. It's sweet, crisp. Can't get it any more fresh than this. And they're still young and tender. Absolutely gorgeous. So we're starting to pick them now. We'll be picking them over the next month as they get bigger and bigger. But this is incredible eating just as it is right now. So while I'm here, I'd like to show you how we train tomatoes to go up these strings. So a couple of important things to look at with tomatoes. They produce what are called suckers. So we've got in each of these leaves, the crotch of each leaf coming out, we've got a small shoot coming up. It's how tomatoes grow. So we want to train this tomato plant to go up the string and to produce as much fruit as it can, as many tomatoes as it can. And what it wants to do is really just produce a lot of these shoots. So it's going to get big and gangly and bushy. We don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to just snap off all of these suckers and really just focus on the central stem and let that continue to grow. So I'm just going to reach in here and break these off. Now, what some greenhouse growers do is they leave the most dominant sucker on there so that they're going to have a primary stem, and then they're going to let one sucker go to become a secondary stem. So all the way up, you're going to have two main stems, and all of the other suckers you're going to break off. It gives you more tomatoes off of one tomato plant when you have two central stems going up instead of just one. As this tomato plant gets taller and taller, it's going to need support. That's what the string is for. So in order to train these tomato plants to get support from the string, in Transition Garden here, we use these little plastic clips. They're available at most garden centers. Very ingenious little device. In the center part here, it grabs the string, and then you clip this other part around the stem of the tomato plant, and it holds it to the string. Click it closed, and there you go. So that's it. And you can follow it as we grow. You'll see how the whole thing progresses up the string. Now over here, we got the hot stuff. This is where we're growing some chilies. Let me point them out to you. So these little plants here are chicanitza, very hot Mexican variety. They're going to grow into huge bushes. This is our adventure sport in Transition Garden. This stuff's really hot, and you got to grow enough to have a year's supply of hot sauce. So these are an important crop. Watch them as they grow out. They're going to be huge bushes laden with really hot chilies. Not snack food, unless you're from Mexico or someplace that loves it hot. So this one here is Carmen, is the name of the pepper. It's a beautiful variety. It's like a Hungarian-shaped banana chili, banana pepper, but it's very mild. No hotness really to it, but it's very intense. This morning, I want to talk with you about converting a bed from spring crops to summer crops. It's early morning here, sun's still coming up. There's a cool breeze in the air, some ocean air coming off. Things are still cool, but they're warming up quickly. So you may remember this bed that we had early in the spring. We had put a cold frame down back in late February, I think. It had warmed up the soil. We had put a whole crop through here between April and May and early part of June. We've still got some of the lettuce that we planted way back then, some beautiful heads of lettuce. We've refreshed the rest of the bed with compost, raked it all in, ready to replant now for summer crops. So one of the first things I want to do is let's take a look at these heads of lettuce. They're pretty nice. These are cold hardy leaf lettuces, and certainly ready to harvest. We've been picking leaves off the outside of these heads of lettuce. But look at that, gorgeous red oak leaf lettuce in its prime. So really nice looking leaves in there, ready to go into salads. Cold hardy spring lettuce, but we're going to now harvest it and turn this whole bed over to summer crops. Really good lettuce there. We've got this other type of lettuce here as well. This is black-seeded Simpson, also very nice leaf lettuce. This one's green. This is an heirloom variety, been around for a very long time, very cold hardy. So in addition to the lettuce, you may remember from earlier shows, we've got this beautiful clump of chives here. We've been harvesting it very heavily ever since April. Cut another bunch right now. Really nice stuff. I used some even just last night in scrambled eggs. And It's been going into a lot of different kinds of salads, a lot of different dishes over the past 2 months, and it's still going strong. So we've got a beautiful, nice full basket of lettuce, early summer. Got a nice full harvest just out of this one bed alone between April and mid-June. And now we're going to go for summer crops. So we're going to have a whole summer crop series in this bed. And then a third crop we're going to plant in the fall as well. So this is an example of getting 3 full crops out of just one single bed. So it just shows the productivity of good successional planting and bed turnover as you go through the season. So one of the things we're going to put into this garden for the summer now is this basil. Beautiful basil. This was started back about 6 weeks ago, this tray of basil plants. They're just in their prime. Nice, beautiful transplant there, ready to go into this bed. It's going to enjoy all of that heat that's coming off those stones on a hot summer day. Basil really needs to think it's in Italy or in California somewhere. So a microclimate like this, it's really going to enjoy itself. We've got a saying in Transition Garden, life's too short and there's never enough basil.
I like it hot in the summer and hot in the spring. I never want it to get cold. You fool me into thinking that I could be singing when the weather's not like that at all.
Our Transition Garden garlic crop's looking absolutely beautiful. It's in its prime right now, middle of June. I don't see any sign of disease, which would be primarily just stunted yellow plants. So nice healthy crop. And we're just starting to see some of the first sign of scapes, garlic scapes, that curly top coming up. And you can see it here in this one plant, for example. There's right in the center this nice round stalk that's coming up out of the garlic plant. That is going to become the garlic scape, ultimately the flower that the garlic plant's going to want to produce. But we'll be harvesting those scapes, making things like garlic scape pesto, roasting them on a grill, a whole lot of other ways to use and cook garlic scape. So it's really the first harvest that comes out of your garlic crop. Of course, the second harvest is the bulb itself, and we'll be pulling these plants out of the ground towards the end of July and starting to cure those bulbs for storage. Peach tree this year looks absolutely beautiful. I think we're going to get our best crop ever. We've been able to control peach leaf curl, some of the other diseases with some organic sprays. It had a beautiful flowering season, good pollination with our beehive being so close. And we look at some of the branches here and we can see young baby peaches being formed right along the length of this branch. So week by week we'll be checking in on these peaches and see how they grow out and how they start to ripen. Everybody loves fresh, homegrown peaches. So what we've got here, these are grapevines growing very quickly at this point. They must be putting on a half an inch a day. And we're going to come in, do a little bit more pruning, but this is an interesting time of year. You can see now the grape flower buds here coming out. This stem right here's got 3 of them along its length. So that is going to ultimately turn into a cluster of grapes. In another week or two, it's going to bloom. Very delicate, small blossoms, grape blossoms. and we'll keep track of those as well as it blossoms and as the grapes start to fill out over the course of the season. So things are looking quite good in the garden here. Everything's coming along quite nicely. Early cucumbers starting to grow out. The potato crop's now looking quite nice. It's the middle of June, leafing out quite heavily. And we did plant these about 6 weeks ago, and they're planted way down in a ditch. So as the plant has grown up like this, what we're able to do now, take out a few weeds, and we're able to fill that ditch in from both sides and start to put more soil around the stems down low. And what that does is it's going to stimulate the plant to produce a whole nother layer of potatoes, so we'll actually get a double crop. The first initial layer potatoes, and then there'll be another layer of potatoes higher up as we begin to fill in soil, kind of mound it up around the stems of these plants. So it's just a good way to increase the output, the yield of the number of potatoes that we're going to get out of these plants. Lettuce is looking quite good. It's in its prime, ready to harvest. This is the early spring leaf lettuces. Cut ahead here. This is a variety called Tango. Very nice leaf lettuce. Formed a good head. Good, beautiful leaves in there. Just in its prime. So we'll be picking all of this lettuce over the next 1 to 2 weeks and refreshing this bed, getting ready for other crops later in the year. Today it's garlic time. Garlic's looking beautiful. We've got behind me here on both sides, we've got 350 garlic plants. That seems like a lot of garlic, but when you break it down, that's a year's supply for 1 or 2 families. So this is the time of year now where we're going to start to harvest the scapes. That's the curly top that starts to come out of the top of the garlic plant. Ultimately, it's going to grow a garlic flower. So we're going to cut these, and they're great eating. I like to think of it as a green onion that tastes a lot like garlic. So there's a scape for you. It's got a curl on it. There's even some sap dripping out of the end there after I just cut it. Good garlic flavor. A lot of different ways to use these in cooking. You can make pesto out of them, even put them on the grill. So we're going to be cooking with some of these later, and it's the first harvest that you get out of your garlic.
You are my sunshine, you are my light. You are the secrets that light up my life. You are the seasons I never change, waiting for something to come round again, waiting for something to come round again.
I'm in the potato patch. Pretty nice looking potatoes. Also late spring, early summer crop. It's the end of June. Potatoes are doing well. We planted them way back in April in a ditch. We've since filled the ditch in so it covers the stems more. Going to get more potato production out of it that way. And I've always heard a rule of thumb, when the potatoes start to flower, it's a sign it's the first time you can dig new potatoes. So we've got a flower blossom here. There's some other blossoms starting to form. So let's see what we can find. It sends out a horizontal root called a stolon. That's a botanical term. And at the end of that, it forms the potato. So all of these green leaves gathering sunlight, they're putting all of that energy into those potatoes. That's how they're storing energy. And it's what we get to eat. So we're going to dig in here on the side and see what we can find. Now there we go. Look at that. Beautiful, new, red chieftain potato. Ooh, there we go. Wow, look at that one. That's a nice potato.